what we'll do is probably just use the Allison still. Can you still hear me, Allison?
Yeah.
Okay. What we'll do, Slate's I'm somehow on a 3-way call with you on Riverside and Slate on my phone.
I know your face is all blurry on Riverside. It's
Oh,
very
that's weird. What we'll do, we'll use what we have and then just cut back in and just resume and that'll honestly it'll be appropriate for this episode. Yeah, it'll be it might work for this episode. So what is going on over here?
I know.
In the morning, I'm making waffles.
Whoever said orange was the new pink was seriously disturbed.
And when it comes to huge openings, a lot of people think of me.
Just call me a fuck ass.
Brilliant. Scary. I get nasty when I'm horny.
Welcome to Not Another 2001 Movie Podcast, a show exploring movies released during the first year of a chaotic century. Today, we're just logging on and hoping we don't catch something. I'm Josh.
I'm Allison.
I'm Slate.
Before we get into today's unique selection, brought to you by yours truly, we have a special guest whose love of art knows no bounds, which I think makes him a perfect fourth chair tonight as we record. Larry Treadway is a co-founder and lead singer of the band Tojo Yamamoto currently, but he has a long history as a musician, art critic, radio show host, sportsman, general entertainer. His career spans more than 3 decades. Larry, just tell the people listening at home whatever you want to tell them about yourself. I know there's a lot to cover.
Wow, I mean, what an intro, Josh, because I've failed at almost all of those things. Which I actually do say that a lot. Whenever I was like, man, I've had a pretty cool life. I've failed at a lot of cool stuff. But no, I am currently in Tojo Yamamoto, which is a Central Kentucky band, doing that. Still doing a little bit of artwork and still like to talk about bad movies. I guess the one thing that gives me a little cred, I have to go all the way back, I guess, 1989 to about 1993 or 4, and then again from 2001 to around 2004, I was the co-host of a bad movie review TV show and then web thing, horror convention thing called Brains on Film. I don't know. You have to understand this is pre-Wayne's World, pre-Mystery Science Theater, pre-Comedy Central, pre-Jackass, pre-any sort of gonzo entertainment that now exists. And I mean, YouTube, come on. Had someone tried to explain what the fuck a YouTube would be in 1989 to a couple punks sitting around in the middle of Kentucky watching bad movies, we would have looked at them, eyes glazed over, drooling, before we slapped them in the face with a fucking VHS tape and screamed about how Blockbuster Video was running the drive-in out of business. Maybe that's why I should be on this show, especially since you invited me to go in depth on the movie Rear Window. Because that's what we're talking about tonight, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Sure, 1954, Alfred Hitchcock. Is that
classic?
Yeah. Yes, classic. Complete classic.
Beloved, critically beloved.
Not another 1954 movie podcast.
Yeah. It's Hitchcock month over here.
Everybody turn your black and white filters on your camera on.
Exactly. No, Rear Window's in color. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh,
it's gorgeous.
No, so I am looking forward to talking about tonight's feature, and I'll let you get to it, Josh.
Yeah, so before we roll into today's delightful flick, we have a Q&A every week, Larry. So this week's a fun one, and then you can kick it off for us. We usually have the guests go first. What is the worst movie you've ever seen in a theater, and what do you remember about the experience? And you can get loose with how you answer that if you just want to. If your best, if your like worst experience just happened to be like, the greatest movie that you've ever seen, then you can roll with that too.
I mean, I've seen a lot of bad movies in the theater, a lot at the drive-in, but I actually like seeing bad movies. What I do hate is when you go to see like a movie that's maybe not supposed to be bad, and it's terrible. And I'll just go right there with Twisters. Oh, God.
Recent.
Terrible. Second only to like Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, you didn't have fun with Maverick, huh?
God, no. I hated both of those.
You hate Glenn Powell.
He hates Glenn
Yeah.
Powell. That's what it
It's the
is.
common
Yeah,
denominator.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Is that the guy's name?
Yeah.
I hate that guy, whatever his name is.
Hey, man. Don't be sending
hate-
strays
did you
at Glenn
hate-
Powell.
Hate the Running Man and Hitman and what
I
else has he
haven't
been
seen The
in?
Running Man.
Um,
I saw that one. where he
Anyone
was
But You?
Like, what's his name? Bob Disguisey or whatever his name was, where he just
Hitman.
wore a lot of disguises.
Bob
yeah.
Disguisey,
Yeah, good lord.
Master of
yeah.
Disguise.
Oh, Lord.
Twisters was just an affront to my intelligence in every kind of way. I was just like, everything about it, from the soundtrack to the special effects, of course, to the hunky storm chaser Glenn Powell. And not only that, I saw it at a theater close to where I live in Frankfort, Kentucky, and they're just notorious for horrible sound. So it was like the whole time
That'll
I was
kill it.
like straining to hear what the dialogue was over the terrible New Country soundtrack.
Right, Luke Combs wasn't rolling. Wasn't
I don't know
doing
what it was.
doing it for you.
Hey, Tyler's
He's
got
one
a
of the good
decent
ones.
song on that soundtrack.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
In the credits, right? Maybe?
I think so.
I can't
He
remember.
buried it.
Yeah,
When it's over.
when it's over.
That's the best part.
But yeah, I mean, and I love the first one. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I hate Twister or I hate tornadoes in general. I mean, they're okay. I mean, it's Wizard of Oz.
Let it be clear, Larry's pro tornado.
I am for
Tornado.
Let me say it right here. If there's any question, Wizard of Oz, good tornado movie. Twister, good tornado movie. I'm sure there's others. I'm sure there's tons of
Sharknado.
good disasters.
Sharknado is my
Sharknado.
mom's favorite.
Sharknado, yeah, all of them.
All 25 of
many
them,
of
great
them.
tornado movies.
Yep. Yeah. That gives me a good chance to plug one that I worked on, Sharks of the Corn.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharks
If you
of
haven't
the
seen
Corn,
it.
like Children of the Corn, but
Sharks-
sharks?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, my God.
Exactly. I worked on that one. I was the editor of that one and shot a little bit of it, as a matter of fact.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I don't recommend it other than for pure entertainment value.
Yeah, so yeah, we should have maybe mentioned that in my intro that Larry has a long running relationship with the what we kind of call it Z movie director Tim Ritter.
I like to refer to him as SOV, shot on video, for the pros out there who know what I'm talking about. They bypass the cinema. They don't want to get bogged down in a lot of cinema stuff. You don't want to develop the film. It takes too long. These are just shot right on the medium that you'll probably watch them on. You know, no one has a 35 millimeter projector at home. I mean, come on, shoot them on video, watch them on video. So yeah.
Nice.
But anyway, I digress. That's kind of my current worst movie experience, just because I don't really like to bash bad movies. If you usually, unless you're just totally oblivious, you don't really walk into the theater thinking this is going to be a great experience and then leave that disappointed in a movie, unless it's kind of mainstream dreck. So.
So, if you're a Tornado or Glenn Powell, please like and subscribe and follow us. And
Yes.
If you're
If you are
tornado.
Glenn Powell, Glenn Powell, I can't wait to see your next movie where you take your shirt off.
Who's next?
Is it nothing? You guys get nothing on that? I mean,
Yeah, I'm about to say, I guess Slayton and Allison are just full of positive experiences.
I mean,
It's like you
who
wanna
else
go?
Yeah,
needs
sure,
to
I'll go.
chase?
I got you. All right. So, for me, I have two that come to mind. One of them is the story. Well, actually, yeah. One of them is the story that I already told about my friend and I walking, 1.5 to 2 miles in the middle of a snowstorm
Oh,
to go
yeah.
see Epic Movie and we left 40 minutes into the movie because it was just so bad. We would rather.
And you were like, we'd rather risk dying in this snowstorm. Than
Absolutely,
finishing this
we
movie.
had enough. It was brutal. Epic movie.
That's worth highlighting because that was all that was told in one of our bonus episodes. So if you're just listening to the main line, then
Yeah. So that was
Slate
the
tried
first
to kill
one.
himself.
Like,
in
yeah,
a
I mean,
snowstorm.
it was like a snow and ice storm. Shut down the school for a week. It was a state of emergency. It was pretty rough. So yeah, we walked about 2 miles to go see Epic Movie. I don't know why the movie theater was open. 40 minutes in, he looked at me and I looked at him, and we both said, "Let's get the fuck out of here." And we walked another 2 miles home. So yeah, that Epic Movie was just really, really bad. Another movie that I just remember like being excited for and absolutely hating is a movie I went and saw Josh with, and that would have been Jordan Peele's Us. Absolutely despised
Catching
that movie in theaters.
So much hate on this podcast.
It's a terrible movie. It sets all the rules and breaks them. And
There's a lot of Slate hate going on in this podcast.
just saying, does no explaining of why the rules are being broken that Jordan Peele wrote. He rid himself into a corner and couldn't get out of it, and just passed it off as art, and that's how the ending of the movie is passed off. So yeah, fantastic. And then lastly for me, the one that really like got under my skin was, as a diehard Michael Myers and Halloween fan, I pretty much enjoyed Rob Zombie's original Halloween. I thought that was fun, and the remake of it was Rob Zombie's remake of the original was entertaining enough, and there were a few things I didn't like about it, but I enjoyed it. Obviously, I went and saw it 9 times in theaters because I love Michael Myers. But Rob Zombie's H2 is a god fucking travesty. It is atrocious. And when Michael's in the hospital going nuts on the nurse and grunting and kind of screaming while he's stabbing her, and Laurie Strode's like trying to walk down the hallway, all of the entire first 30 minutes in the hospital, I stood up and was like, I'm leaving. I need my money back. And like, only because I was a diehard fan did I sit back down and was like, maybe he'll redeem it. He did not fucking redeem it. Michael saying, die! And then killing Loomis is the worst thing I've ever seen on screen.
Wow. That's good.
All right. I've got 3, but for very different reasons. So the first thing that kind of came to my mind was, I didn't go see a ton of movies in high school. It wasn't until I got to college and actually lived near theaters, basically, and had transportation, that I saw all kinds of movies in college. But, going to a movie in high school was kind of a big deal. So we were pretty selective. But I remember when my friend got our license and we went to see the Inspector Gadget movie.
With Matthew Broderick?
Yes. And
some of the best
it was
McDonald's toys ever.
It was like the first time that I was like, movies can be bad.
We went and saw that when I was in
Wow.
like 5th grade or
It's like 60 minutes long too. It's barely a movie.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the first, like, oh wow, like we paid money for something and I kind of wish I had my money back.
If you thought that was bad, you should have seen Inspector Gadget 2.
Oh, I did not. I skipped
There
that
was
one.
a sequel to that one.
Yeah.
The other one, which I like, a lot of people are going to completely disagree with this, but I hate the Tree of Life with like Slate levels of hating Us.
What?
Everyone
never
think that
watched it.
Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life. Oh my God, it's so beautiful and blah, 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 and it infuriated me. I watched it at the Kentucky Theater. John was with me. My boyfriend at the time was with me. And I came so close to walking out. I was like, this is just so pretentious. I was also not in a great headspace because my dad had died like not that long before going to see it, and like just the tension, and they hated it too. And yeah, I don't know what it was about that movie, but I can't stand it. I will never watch it again. But third is a movie that I get to talk about in a couple of weeks, which is Shallow Hal,
Wow.
which is an affront to all of my senses.
Save it
Wait,
for
you
that
can do it.
podcast. That's
Yeah,
a good
I'm gonna
tease.
Yeah,
say,
I'm gonna save it.
That's a
I'm gonna
good
save
tease.
So I have a couple as well. The first one that came to mind was The Rundown with one of
With
The
The
Rock's
Rock?
early movies. So and the only reason I say it was bad, it was one of the first movies I went to see when we had a theater in our hometown that opened up, and I fell asleep I fell asleep like 10 minutes into the movie and woke up as the credits were going, and so I've never finished the movie, but I feel like that has to count as a bad one if I just conked out. It was a good nap. The other one that immediately came to mind was a movie. So I purchased a ticket for the Captain Underpants movie that came out, I guess, in 2017, because this is the year that this happened, because I was kind of looking through a list to remember when I'd seen it, and I started seeing some trailers. It's like, this is some weird trailers to be playing in front of the Captain Underpants movie, a G-rated or PG, a cartoon, something for kids. And I kept watching, and I was like, this is strange. Like, why? And then I get into about 5 minutes, and title card comes up, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
What?
Guy Ritchie.
Did you walk into the wrong theater?
No, it was.
Is that the one with Charlie Hunnam?
Yes.
Yeah. And so this was at that Regal, that shitty Regal, or not the shitty AMC that closed in Lexington a few years back.
The Cinemark. It was a dollar theater for a while. That one.
So
where like the ceiling was caving in. And
were y'all talking about Woodhill?
No, Woodhill was the good cheap theater.
Oh, even worse than Woodhill.
I love me some Woodhill.
I like
Woodhill. I was there the last night of the Woodhill. I watched 5 movies that day. It closed on Memorial Day, and I watched 5 movies back to back to back to back. It was awesome. It was tremendous. But this theater sucked, and I guess I just played the wrong reel, and I just decided, fuck it, I'm watching King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, a movie I never would have bought a ticket for. And I couldn't tell you the first damn thing about that movie.
Were you the only person in the theater?
I know. There were a couple others.
Nobody else was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, we just had
the worst Captain Underpants movie I've ever seen.
I thought this movie was animated. What is going on?
Underpants.
And
where are the underpants?
Almost 10 years later, I still haven't seen Captain Underpants. So
nice.
Yep. So that's my 2. The nothing else came to mind that was just so terrible. I've seen a lot of bad movies in theaters, but had a lot of fun, making fun or making out or whatever it was. So
it was awkward trying to make out at Captain Underpants.
Yeah, especially by myself.
Yeah.
Okay, movie time, if we can call it that. The film today is .com for Murder.
Next time you log on,
My friend here says you're afraid of women. Is that true?
remember, if you think you're safe because you're just a screen name, you both die. You're wrong.
It was my pick in the sketchy category, which if you're just kind of tuning in, that was a category dedicated to movies that were rated 4.9 or lower in the IMDb user rating. If I remember correctly, this was rated 2.8. I think it was by far the lowest of the 3 movies selected, which Ghost of Mars and the Glitter, I think, was what Allison took, right? That was where you took Glitter. So 2 movies people have heard of. I took this.
The hardest movie in the world to find.
Why did you take this?
Okay, so backstory. There's a backstory. So I owned, for some reason, so I often will just, Larry's part of my lineage of people who've influenced me to do things like this.
So it's Larry's fault. Okay.
Like blind buy like random movies if they're on sale. And I got this for like $7, like a copy of it.
You paid $7 for this?
Bro, what?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
$7?
Josh.
That's highway robbery, bro.
I know. Oh my god.
Look at it. It's
it's not worth $7.
Got the slip cover.
The slip cover is what?
The reversible, artwork.
Oh my god.
So,
Josh.
So it'd been sitting on my shelf for a while, and if I'm being completely honest, it was part of the movies that influenced, like, this podcast. Like, I kind of like, you know what? I want a reason to watch all this janky shit, some of this janky shit, and so eventually we learned. So this movie premiered theatrically at a film festival, the MyFed Film Market, which is in Spain. Am I?
Is it held in somebody's
It's-
backyard in Spain?
And so in October, that was the only time it was ever theatrically screened. It never got a theatrical release. Its first official release came from by way of Omega Entertainment, which we'll get into, is the company owned by the director of the movie, self-distributed in 2003. So technically, by the rules of this show, this movie probably shouldn't be getting talked about today. And we went back and forth and we talked about it, and we consoled the High Council here of the Not Another 2001 Movie podcast, and decided it was better to talk about this than Soul Survivor.
Well, we had been building this up too. Like, I felt like we had to deliver on this movie at this point because we had talked about it so openly on all the other episodes, and like how shitty it was going to be and how much of a fun conversation we were going to have. So Soul Survivor is just a god-awful movie in general. It's a million times worse than this, and there's not much to say. At least this movie we can have fun talking about.
Yeah, and it is listed as a 2001 movie in most sources. Some places listed as 2002, which I don't understand that one at all, because it didn't get a DVD release. Like, to me, it's either 2003 or 2001, depending on. I don't think 02 is really a honest listing anywhere, and it does, for me, it does encapsulate a lot about 2001 in some a few ways. So we'll get into it. The opening sentence about this movie from Wikipedia describes it as a science fiction horror crime drama, which is a pretty generous way, I think, of saying this is a movie that has no fucking idea what it wants to be.
Yeah.
So the title was an intentional nod to Alfred Hitchcock's Dial M for Murder. If you've seen any Hitchcock movies, that isn't the only thing it's really going after.
Yeah.
Larry hinted at it earlier.
It's like almost a shot for shot how to not do Hitchcock.
What do you mean? The opening shower sequence isn't Psycho just reimagined? I mean, they literally took Psycho and John Carpenter's original Halloween with Michael Myers' perspective going up the stairs. It's just he's a visionary.
Yeah. What if we did those things, but way worse?
Yeah.
Intentionally, almost. The promotional materials for this movie touted it as this will be the rear window of the E generation, which is funny.
Yeah.
One, the use of the word E generation is.
And I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Well, this is back when everything was E, not just emails that only, relic from that time that lasted. Everything else, was e-commerce, electronic was the, just everything was E, and now we're just left with email.
This will be the exploding cigar of the e-cigarette generation. Yeah. The rear window thing too. I mean, I love when it's like, man, we want people to think about rear window in this, so let's literally write it. Let's write those words in the script and say them, so people really get that she's got a cast on her foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
because I'm like, at least you could have like something else besides like a bad boot in a wheelchair. I mean,
I want to get into that a little bit later. But
it's crazy.
Also, why are you making me think of such a great movie?
Yeah.
In comparison to this.
Yeah, because it's really going to help when I'm watching this to go, man, Rear Window is really great.
I should be watching it right now.
Yeah, not at all like this.
Well,
that and the fact that Rear Window takes place like in a one-room walk-up kind of tenement, and this is like in the most immaculate modern concrete all-glass like enclosure, which, by the way, I think the director's notorious for every movie that he made renting this amazing house that he lived in the whole time they were making the movie. So he would rent it for like 6 months and then just camp in it. And like, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, I'm editing. I'm editing right now. We need to get you out of the house. No, I'm still editing.
That's
I think that was kind of like his MO.
So it'll shock no one who's even casually looked at things from this movie, if you've not watched it, that it's pretty cheap, and the director's notorious. You know, he's a kind of a acclaimed B movie director, I guess. Exploitation movie.
D movie.
Yeah, I don't think he ever really aspired to be.
No, he wasn't chasing. No. He was chasing independence, and by God, he got it.
Yeah.
The one of his films is I can't recall which one, but he maxed out a credit card to pay for it. Like, he basically paid for it with a credit card. And then
some of my close friends who are directors, they know. They've done that. Yeah. I go back to that SOV thing. A lot of those guys, those tapes don't buy themselves.
I just feel like if you're having to do that for the movie, you're not gonna make the money back you spent on this movie, right? Like,
yeah.
Hope you're doing it for the art. You know what I mean? If you're doing it for the art and fulfillment, then good for you.
It's a labor of love.
Labor of love, and you sell enough. That Blu-ray that I bought for $7 originally retailed for like $35. So somebody was, banking bank off of.
Oh my
That's
God.
absurd. Absolutely.
Call for Murder lives on.
I paid $2 to watch this on YouTube TV, and that was too much.
Yeah, I paid
in standard def. I was like, I'm not paying for high def.
I paid $3 to watch it on Prime.
You guys don't know what you're missing in standard def on this thing. I mean, there's so many different formats that he shot it in, and most of them low resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it. It looked pretty low res. I watched the standard def that they had as an option.
You guys could have.
I honestly can remember talking about making a movie in about 2001 where we, for completely the same reasons of having no money, all talked about, what would be cool is if we used webcams and DV cams and security cams and all these other things, because it just seemed like a thing of the moment, right? Where it's like everything online was low res and pixelated. So it's like, why not lean into that? And obviously they did that in the worst ways possible. Like the weird, which we'll get more into, like the set design or whatever, but the main character's weird jeweler magnifying glasses turned into like online cameras or whatever.
His meta goggles.
The things on his finger. I don't know what the things on his fingers were.
Nobody does.
When I first saw him, I was like, does he have those things that they used to sell that you would put on your front bumper that scared deer away? Like they were like, it's like they somehow put.
They look like lasers.
Yeah, and then they just lit them up. Yeah, I mean, they were really thinking like, how do we make this guy look like he knows everything about the internet? And it's like, we'll put something on his fingers,
and we'll get a keyboard that lights up red.
Yeah.
This backlit red to make
it. You were in SD. Everything was neon, either turquoise or pink.
Yeah, there was a lot of color.
There's a lot of color in it. A lot of color. A lot of like in 2026, when you look, if you just use your mind's eye and you think about the 80s, forget that this thing was 2001. It looks like the most 80s movie ever, but it was 20 years past the 80s. I mean, that's what's so weird about it. Like the colors and the.
Well, I texted them. I can't remember how far I was. I was like 7 minutes in or something, and I'm like, "What am I watching?" Because everything was like out of focus and weird, and there's just like text flying around, and I'm like, "Oh, when you start the movie, you're like, okay, they're setting the tone," and then it just didn't seem to end.
Yeah.
It's like
it for the whole. Whatever 83 minutes was setting the tone. Yeah.
Also, I thought about texting you all this, Josh, but it was you probably would think I was joking or not taking it seriously. But I started watching it, and then I thought I was going to have rampant diarrhea. I got so sick to my stomach out of nowhere, and I was like, "Is it this movie
Well,
about to give me diarrhea?" I had to stop watching it and take a nap and come
That's
back
what-
to it later.
That's what male nudity does to you.
Oh yeah, he's sitting naked,
Oh,
typing on his
first
keyboard.
The first 10 minutes of just his, I got the keyboard on my lap and I'm naked. Is just the most disturbing. And then the gratuitous use of eyeliner for no real reason, just on one eye. And
Yeah,
like it was one of those things where it's like, you know what? I like Hitchcock, but I also like Kubrick. I'm going a little Clockwork Orange here. And we'll see if people get it. I'm not writing the word Clockwork Orange into the script, but it'll be a subtle nod.
but I will name this computer system Hal
yes.
Yes,
in case
exactly.
people don't get that. It's a
And then
subtle
for no
nod.
good- and then for no good reason, Roger Daltrey just throws in the line, "Hey, don't call it Hal," and then explains that the computer will get offended and shut itself down. You know.
That does all kind of call to mind so on Rotten Tomatoes, if you look this movie up on Rotten Tomatoes, it only has one critic review, so no score. And it has a 6% audience score with after 10,000 ratings, so, you know, people don't love it. The only review from the critic score is from Felix Vasquez, who was writing for something called Cinema Craze in 2003. This film is so laden with attempts at borrowing from other films, its original product is lost in the process. So, you know. The man responsible for a lot of that was the director who wrote and produced the film also, Nico Mastorakis, who is a Greek filmmaker, best known for two things. One of these things, I don't know if you were familiar with this, Larry. I didn't really know it until I was reading about it. He did an interview with it was like these kids were imprisoned in a as part of a junta uprising, and Larry's lost power.
I
What
know.
the
I
hell?
was like,
I thought he
lost,
looked awful still. So
we lost Slate.
we're-
Slate's computer
man,
shutting itself down
we're-
6
we're-
times in a row.
We're getting hacked over here.
We're getting he's remotely taking control of everyone's computers.
Sometimes I think fuck computers.
Okay, so it's been a while, guys, since we were talking about .com for Murder. Our first recording met the same fate as the killer at the center of this movie. It's if you're listening and watching at home, you are getting to hear that and see that at least. We didn't lose the recording in total, but we decided Larry was having power issues that night. I know Slade, I think, was having a little bit of power issues. It was storming up a motherfucker over here. It was really loud at my house. So
Well, Josh, you see what had happened was some dickhead put a big webcam snake all over my computer, and it attacked my computer and killed it.
A cyber cobra.
Yeah, cyber cobra.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
A cyber cobra came and got me.
We should have just came back as if we had been watching the scene of the cops arriving for the whole 2 weeks.
Yeah,
they
it
got
took them that
to the
long to
house.
get there.
Yeah. It's like, man, they finally got there. We can pick back up now. Show
Yeah,
that clip.
eventually.
So we were talking about Nico Mastorakis a little bit before we got blew up by the storm a couple weeks ago, and this was the main thing you need to know about this is about him is he's a career B movie, might even be too generous, probably closer to D movie director. Not a judgment, not a quality judgment, just a fact. And this was his final movie. He currently is 85 years old. He's still alive at the time of recording, and this was his last movie. And I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting.
He went out with a bang.
Yeah, sure did.
Or a thud.
Thud.
In the time since we got depowered, I did snagged the Nico Mastorakis box set from
Oh,
Arrow
wow.
used.
Josh.
I got it for like $25 used on eBay. It's 6 movies: Ninja Academy, The Naked Truth, the Time Traveler, which is a thought of. From what I read, is that's like not his magnum opus, but in terms of quality, it's probably like the movie that is actually kind of respectable if you like trying to really tell a story that is not in these waters. Have you seen? Is it Blood? Not Blood Tide. What Island of Death is the one that is probably his most notable movie. It was his first movie.
Definitely.
Larry, I've linked in the show notes to Larry's review back from the Brains on Film days that he wrote up about the movie. I've watched it, and it's a lot. It's an adventurous flick.
He was very political in his early, I guess, in his youth, and so he, I guess, he tells the story that him and his pals finally saw Texas Chainsaw in Greece. And so he was inspired, like, oh, I can make a movie even better and more shocking than Texas Chainsaw. And then he puts this couple on an island who, they're the conservatives in the movie, but they're wiping out all the sinning liberals, I guess, is the nicest way of putting it. But there's no shortage of showing all the detail of what the sinning liberals do before they get killed. He makes people drink paint, and there's just all kinds of fun.
The paint kill is pretty gnarly. I mean, even today, like watching it today, is like, damn, like that's pretty fucked up.
And I mean,
pretty well
kids
done,
leave
honestly.
the room. Yeah, kids leave the room, but there's goat fucking in it.
Yeah, pretty soon after the paint killing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I say there's goat fucking in it, that's not a euphemism. It's just goat fucking.
Yep.
But yeah, it's
Like
pretty crazy.
like 2 goats fucking, or
No,
a
like-
person
No,
fucking.
I'm taking it. I think
Man
it's a
fucks goat.
bestiality. Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Okay.
Is this simulated goat fucking, or are they going for like a brown bunny? This is the real deal type thing.
I mean, I would never question.
Does it
what
say
people do
no
for their
animals
art.
were harmed or fucked during
no,
the
it
making
doesn't
of
say
this
that.
film?
It does not say that, but
No
it's all
animals
kind
were
of,
pleasured.
it's kind of I mean, it's supposed to be kind of a horror movie, but it's a bit comedic and
It's so over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely campy, even if
Yeah.
unintentionally so. It's a fun watch. It's on
Sounds
Internet Archive.
fun. I'm
That's how I
surprised you
watched it.
didn't draft that one, Josh, and find some way to make it fit in the year 2001.
Well,
I mean,
see.
I mean, there's all. I mean, what year was Island of Death?
76, I
75 or
believe.
6? Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, one of those, like back in my VHS tape trading days, was hard to track down because obvious reasons. No one wanted to see it, probably being the biggest. But I finally tracked down a I used to trade tapes with this guy in West Virginia who always had the craziest stuff because he had found a connection in Turkey where he would get like old 16 millimeter prints of stuff, and he invested in like some sort of transfer device. And this was early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. So I finally got a copy from him that he burnt on DVD-R, and I was looking so forward to seeing it, and then of course I was like, oh God, this is terrible. I read about it for so much. I built it up in my mind. I was like, this thing's going to be over the top. It's always being written up as being so crazy. Then I was like, I mean, it's not really a letdown. It's more just like, it's played a little more comedically than straight ahead. So it's not as shocking, even though it's got goat fucking, but. But yeah, thinking how he bookended his career, that thing, and then .com for murder. That was like the bookends of decades of work.
Started with a goat, ended with a cyber cobra.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And Nastassja Kinski,
And
he was
Nastassja Kinski,
in a
who is
in
the
a
lead.
boot, in a boot, is the plot line. We're just gonna keep you in this foot boot the whole time. We know you're an international sex symbol, so what I'm going to do with you is flip the script. You're just going to be in a boot and sit at a desk.
Yeah, he's playing against Top. He's
Yeah,
really letting
exactly.
her flesh out her
letting her
her
cook.
wares.
You know,
So-
she is, and she was. I don't know if you guys have seen Cat People, which was probably what made her famous. Because she's naked most of the time in it, and it's got a David Bowie soundtrack, and it's pretty crazy, sexy, and a little bit kind of cool. Got some cool murders in it. But so she kind of skyrocketed there for a second because she was out of Europe and no one in America had seen her. And her dad, Klaus Kinski, is an amazing actor, but also an amazingly psychotic individual. And around about the time Cat People was at its nexus, he decided it was time to release his autobiography, which is one of the most fascinating books. I checked it out at the Lexington Public Library right when it dropped, and I read it. I wish to God I'd never returned it, because the first pressing of it was so over the top. Like, you go to eBay and look for it now, it's $1,000. The book is, because the first press, he put that he and Natasha had a consensual sexual affair while she was a minor. It was his daughter. Ooh. And then he also had a sexual affair when he was a child with his mother.
Jesus Christ.
And then they made him take all that stuff out after the first pressing, and so the second pressing doesn't have nearly as but
we didn't.
I mean, he basically yeah, exactly. Well, it was the first version of it, I think, was on a small press, and it was like they put, hey, we're not going to edit it. Whatever you say goes, or whatever.
Unfiltered.
And then it made headlines because she was doing well in her career. And I don't think she really ever denied it or anything. She just never addressed it. But he was an absolute nut job. Clearly. I mean, he worked with Herzog on Aguirre, and I mean, he threatened almost on a daily basis to murder Herzog, to the point where he was hired. They had all these locals as extras because they were shooting like in the Amazon rainforest or something, and he had locals like he was going to pay him to murder Herzog. I mean, it's like so insane. I mean, he's just crazy. But yeah, and I don't know if I truly believe the stuff about he and Natasha, or if he was just doing it for shock value. But the detail he goes in with him and his mom, it's like pretty vivid, where it's like, oh, maybe that did happen. I don't know. But definitely worth excerpts from the book are all over the internet. I mean, if you just Google Klaus Kinski autobiography, you'll happen upon it. He's fascinating. He played Nosferatu in one of the remakes. He's in Crawl Space, which is one of the craziest, like, kind of claustrophobic horror movies from the 80s, where it's just a guy who lives in a crawl space. It's pretty nuts. So the fact that she is like his offspring and got into acting always made me think she's got to be a little bit crazy. I mean, coming from that background.
I see she worked with Polanski, so
yeah, Polanski and Francis Ford Coppola.
Our sex pest connections here.
It's
yeah. Oh God, I'm over this movie so much right now. Jeez,
wouldn't be an episode of Not Another 2001 Podcast if
not another 2001 pedophile.
Yeah. Oh God.
God damn.
Moving on. She's our lead. Nicollette Sheridan is her friend, who is also in the movie.
And she was the one I recognized from Desperate Housewives. Yeah.
So I've never.
What she was on? What else was she? What was she on before that? Like my
This.
era.
I don't know anything else about her other than like I heard like the lead in her wiki article is she was nominated for a Golden Globe for Desperate Housewives. So
I thought she was in another kind of popular television, like not 30
Knots Landing.
Yeah, Knots Landing. That's it.
Yeah.
Because it reminded me how much I had a crush on her from Knots Landing. Because I was like, yeah, she used to be cute as could be. She was like someone's daughter at Knots Landing. Yeah. Which was like, I don't know, you guys may be too young for that. It was just like a 10 p.m. network soap opera type thing, where it's like Knots Landing was just the neighborhood everyone lived in. It was terrible. But I think it was extremely popular.
I was gonna say back when something like that could probably rate a 20.
Yeah.
It was 80s into early 90s. I remember hearing of that show and it being on, but we never watched it.
Yeah. She's doing most of the heavy lifting in the movie, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
If there is such a thing in this movie as heavy lifting.
Well, she gets the move, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. She doesn't have a boot on. So, I mean, there's that. And she also gets, like, taken out extremely quickly when all push comes to shove. And the other weird casting thing, the Who's Roger Daltrey. For no
discernible reason.
No. Like, it just makes me wonder, like, was he friends with Nico? Like,
that's probably it, right? There's some connection.
He was in a fairly interesting movie called McVicker where he played. It was like based on a true story. He was like a guy who spent time in, I think, who was wrongly charged for a crime and spent a long time in prison or whatever. And he played the main character and he did the soundtrack for it and everything. And he was kind of trying to be a serious actor. This, I mean, he's definitely not trying to be a serious actor. And he's creepy in it too. I mean, like his dialogue is just.
So, I was gonna wait till we got to the movie, but like
you don't have to wait.
I don't. No, this is not our best work. Weeks. We're just gonna And I can't remember if I said this last time when we recorded, but I'm trying to think of the most polite way to say this. I thought that maybe she was like mentally challenged, and he was like her dad at first, but then they were like awkwardly kiss, and I was like, but then I was like, oh my god, is he taking advantage of her? And then I'm like, I don't think she's.
It does feel
she just seemed so weird and childlike, and he seemed so old and creepy, and the dialogue is so bad, and she's in the wheelchair, which at first then I was like, oh, she's got a boot on, but like, why didn't she have like a scooter? And she barely uses her crutches, which seems like a much easier way to get around. But
it is truly fascinating the way that he wrote this movie. It makes me feel like he had no real like perception of American acting and like portrayals of American people at all. Which
is funny for someone who basically worked in American movies the entire time.
Right. Yeah. but like it feels like all right, I've never been to Botswana, but if I thought this is what Botswana people talk like and what they did and their relationships with their loved ones, and this is what they would have an encounter with on the internet, like this is what, like, you know what I mean? It feels like that's what he just did. He just sat there and was like, I wonder what Americans do on the web.
Well, okay, so we'll get through the cast here, and so we got Huey Lewis. He's an agent, the FBI agent.
Huey Lewis is so great. It's the power of love, man.
So we can talk more about him in a second. Jeffrey Dean,
he's the best thing in it, right? I mean, without a doubt, right?
He's
Huey Lewis.
He gets the best lines. I would,
yeah.
What, you're not a big fan of Jeffrey Dean, the killer? And to my knowledge, this is his only acting credit. Introducing Jeffrey Dean.
I mean, I love that too. I mean,
Yeah.
that little special thing that people do when they make movies, like,
You think
and
Jeffrey Dean Morgan had to add the Morgan because he's like, oh man, I
Because
can't be
of this
mistaken
guy.
for this guy.
Had to. Absolutely had to. If they're like Jeffrey Dean, they were like, you mean that guy from that legendary movie.com for murder?
And it was like, a wink, wink, nod, nod to like James Dean. He's like, hey, he's the next James Dean, guys. Jeffrey Dean, he's the next James Dean. And usually that introducing is like always kind of saved for like the young femme fatale, like female actress who's making her debut, and instead it's like, and introducing Jeffrey Dean Morgan as guy with eyeliner on one eye.
as Werther.
Yeah, that whole thing, like the whole
butterscotch candy.
Oh my god,
the whole let's get literary part of it.
Yeah, it really classed it up.
It really did. Between that and Roger Daltrey's knowledge of the internet, was fascinating too. Where it was just one notch above. What's your password, honey? Oh, it's password 1234. And it really was. I mean, I was like, man, what a great time it was when I could have a password that was 5 characters.
Yeah.
It wasn't any complex security things. It was just kind of like, you just need a password.
The only other cast member of note is Melinda Clark. She's
Yes.
Lewis's friend, FBI agent. Also,
That's Julie Cooper. You put some respect on her name.
Yes, is that her character in the OC? I
Yes.
watched the OC.
Oh, okay.
I love the OC, man. That is my show.
She's had a big TV career. She's been in several things like significance. OC is the big one, the biggest one that I'm familiar with. But she's had a really good TV career. It seems like so. And she honestly, I mean, of all these people, she's probably the most. Well, I guess Nastassja Kinski early on too, but between those two, in terms of like probably the most star-studded career.
I really think if we want this episode to take off, we should just say, without anything to back it up, that this is the film that ended Huey Lewis's singing career.
It didn't end Roger Daltrey's.
It broke his vocal cords. This is the one. No, I saw the Farewell Who tour, the first one, in '82.
The first
one, and they're still
the first one. The year I was
I really
born.
did. That was their farewell tour. I saw it at Rupp with all without all the original members because Keith Moon was already dead, but Entwistle was still playing bass, and that was supposed to be
30 years later. They were a halftime show at the Super Bowl.
And the beauty of that was no one wanted them, and they didn't want to be there. Like if you hear Super talk about it, they're like, what's the Super Bowl? I don't even know what that is. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I love that band. Pete Townshend's a fascinating character to me, but yeah. What a weird, they just keep on farewelling it. Townsend was recently on with Colbert and talking, I guess they're making Tommy into a Broadway musical now.
I'm surprised it's taken this long, honestly.
I know. Because, who knows? Townsend's a weirdo. I'm sure somebody wanted to do it, and it was like he wouldn't give them the rights or what. But supposedly he's not really involved in it, and he's just kind of giving them the right to do whatever. But he's still talking about him and Daltrey are playing one last farewell, and he's like, I decided this time I'm just going to do whatever makes him happy, and we can go out on that high note where we're not fighting. So I'm like, cool, whatever.
Next year they'll be on tour with the Brothers of Oasis.
Yes. But you know what could throw a wrench in that is make Pete Townsend watch this movie.
Yeah.
Screen this outside at every concert.
It's just like, hey.
You get a free copy with every concert.
Yeah, there we go.
A VHS copy.
Listen, listeners, if you're listening and you haven't watched this movie and you're like, it can't be that bad, But why are they talking about everything other than this movie? I'm here to tell you, it's that bad. So I would love for you to watch it, though. Please torture yourself for the hour and a half, and then write Josh a scathing letter, in the comments of our YouTube section, and pull no punches, and let him know how much you hate him for making you watch this movie because he drafted it.
And can I say something? I had to pay $2 to watch it.
Yeah!
Which was too much.
Me too, Josh.
Too
I
much.
want my money back, you whore.
Wow.
Hey, I told you how to. So for the listeners and the watchers, it's available on Night Flight Plus, which you can subscribe to for a free week trial.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
I'd rather pay $2.
But then the problem was, you only get 48 hours to watch it. So I watched it. I'm like, okay, good. I watched it once. Let's record. And it's been. I was like,
weeks.
I am not watching this again. I'm not paying another $2 to watch this again.
Allison, it's me too. I'm in the same
You
boat.
could have come over.
Wait,
I have the Blu-ray.
It didn't stick with you guys?
Oh, it stuck with me. It stuck with me. It's still not as bad as Soul Survivors. Like, I will watch this movie before I ever watch Soul Survivors.
I don't. Oh God, I have to go watch Soul Survivors now.
You should
to compare.
Just for the Elisha.
I don't see how it could be worse than this.
I'm telling you, Allison, it's the problem with the Soul Survivors is it takes itself too seriously, and this movie doesn't. And I think you let this movie get by with it. Soul Survivors is just. I would love to interview Elijah Dushku and ask her about the entire process of Soul Survivors and what she thought about that movie. Would love to know.
She wasn't thinking. I don't think many people were involved with that project. Yeah, because that movie, Slate's right. That one takes itself too seriously. And really, by the letter of the law of this show, it's probably the one we should be talking about. But I think this one. So we're deep in the reactions now. Obviously, this movie is ridiculous. Like,
is there a cautionary tale in this movie? It's the early days of the internet. Does it say anything? Did he get anything right?
That's a good question, Larry.
For the time period, I think it's kind of. I do think it reflects some things about how people. It's absurdly. It's very almost surreal in how it portrays what the internet was like. But I think there's elements about it that are pretty reminiscent of the time, and
I feel like the big fear
than some of the things that we've watched so far have been.
The big fear with every sort of you can go back to when people were able to buy maybe cheap motion picture cameras like Super 8 film and have home movie cameras, and then with video cameras, and then with the internet. It seems like the fear mongering always leans into the snuff aspect, right? Like someone's going to want to watch someone get killed, no matter what the format is. That's going to be the fear that always happens. So I'm like, he kind of got, it was low hanging fruit because they kind of do it through every generation, kind of has some sort of version of a scary snuff scenario. But he did kind of get some of it right to where we ended up a little bit with cameras and stuff that really, at that time, we hadn't really developed being that dependent on it. But
the interesting aspect of it for me when I was watching it, now, mind you, I was 10 years old in 2001, so I was very new to the internet and wasn't doing really hardly anything on there. I didn't know about chat rooms and the dark web. I found that when I was 14, 15. That's when I snuck in there, But the things that I remember people telling me about as far as oh my gosh, don't do webcams and people can hack this and that. And all of those things started to come up, when I was, like I said, 14, 15, 16. And it felt like he was kind of ahead of the curve saying this is a new thing and it's exciting, but it can be dangerous. And the fun thing that I really thought was really ahead of the curve is, do you guys know what Werther is?
It's taken from that book that keeps getting referenced.
You mean him himself?
Werther, do you know what Werther would be in today's time?
He's an incel, I would assume.
But no, but do you know what he would be in today's time?
That was my...
Werther would be, if we're going back to 2001 and there's a new thing, Werther would be like the first ever Twitch star. He would be Werther's original, and he would be streaming his kills on Twitch. Like seriously, like he's like the live streams of killing people is definitely something that was not capable, not available at that time, and yet somehow he made it work,
especially
and believable
with
in this movie.
Silence of the Lamb goggles. It definitely wasn't.
Yeah. Well, don't forget about his finger thingies, whatever.
Finger
those
lasers.
Yeah.
Finger lasers. Right.
Yeah.
Are those fingers with freaking laser beams attached to their freaking tips?
Freaking knuckles. Yeah, just say so. Like
it did pull the curtain back on dudes who play on the internet totally naked.
Yeah. Cross-legged with a keyboard in his lap.
Yes.
We were all there, right?
Gingerly placed so, you know, whatever shows on camera doesn't show everything.
Werther looked up at the swordfish room when Hugh Jackman walked in, and he goes, ha, that's child's play.
Child's play. Those seven monitors.
Yes.
I've got a glowing
He did make the internet look cooler than it ever looked. I mean, I was like, I don't remember all these giant graphics and
or when you go in
neon
chat
colors.
rooms and the voices, each line of chat, you're not just reading it, you're hearing a weird modulated voice for each character.
Yeah. Listen, if you're logging on to a website called peepingtom.com to meet a man, there's something wrong with you.
Okay, first of all, so yes, weird old Roger Daltrey with his child bride, or what, I don't know.
Child bride.
You know, when you realize, like, okay, they're a couple, and he's like, business trip, gotta go, bye, or whatever. And the first thing she does is like, I know he's cheating on me. I'm gonna go into this.
My first thought was, there's no trust in this bitch. Okay, all right.
What was the password? I can't. Again, it's been 3 weeks since I watched this. But yeah, very simple password. Let's get in here and see what he's been doing. Oh, he's going to peepingtom.com.
Yes.
Let's click on it and see what we find.
Let's catfish.
Hey, he was on to that too.
This woman.
Catfish. That was another thing.
Catfishing. And when did Ashley Madison? Me and Larry were talking about Ashley Madison earlier today at work because I heard a radio ad for it recently. The cheating site that they're back and they're advertising themselves as we're not the Ashley Madison you knew.
Okay. All right.
So I mean,
and whenever I hear the name, I always think Dolly Madison, and I always think of cake. Like the snack cakes, because I was like, "What? Ashley Madison, the cupcake thing? No, okay." Yeah, I guess this had to predate those things. We ain't gotten that far yet.
Yeah.
Well, so Josh, go ahead and explain the book that you mentioned.
Yeah. So it's called The Sorrows of Young Werther by Johann Wolfgang Goethe. And so in that book, the only thing you really need to know about it is the that's how you say it, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
It's just a fun.
Oh
last
yeah, it's
name.
spelled Goethe or Goethe. The only thing you know, the character in that story kills himself after he falls in love with a married woman. It was an immediate bestseller internationally. I don't recall when it came out. It was like in the 1200s or 1300s or something maybe. And maybe later than that, I could be misremembering. The notes are sloppy, about as sloppy as this movie. This movie obviously was never going to be as famous as that book, but I think it is kind of interesting that I'd never heard of this book until I watched this movie, which I don't know. I really hadn't. Yeah, I hadn't. I've heard of Goethe. I've heard of the writer, but I was not familiar at all with this story until this movie, which probably says something about me. But. And I do think that's the interesting thing at the heart of this movie. Yeah, obviously, it's a ridiculous, terrible movie. It's ripping off. Like, if you've seen a good movie, there's a good chance it's been ripped off in some way in this movie. There's like an Exorcist homage. There's a Psycho homage that starts the movie.
Oh, the first 5 minutes is literally Psycho in the first shot of Halloween. It's thrown together.
Yeah, it's Halloween. It's just any really excellent slasher movie you've seen in the past or horror movie, iconic.
And then don't forget that she lives in a house run by some sort of massive AI computer named Hal.
Named Hal.
So it's ridiculous, but I do think it does it. What I like about it in terms, I mean, it's ridiculous. We drafted for a reason. It was drafted in our shitty movie category, but I do think it does a pretty
Hold
good
on.
job of reflecting.
It doesn't
the time.
have to be a shitty movie to be in this category. I will contend Ghosts of Mars is not a shitty movie, okay? It is a movie that is rated poorly on IMDb, but it is not a shitty movie. John Carpenter, if you're listening, I will be emailing you soon. Please come on this podcast.
I'll save my thoughts about Ghosts of Mars for a while, but
yeah. For that podcast. I'm sorry. You're throwing out some shade at my pick here for the same category. I don't like it.
And it goes into that world of the internet, which is I do think if you're watching this as someone like who's never experienced this period, because I was in chat rooms and stuff when I was 8, 9. I shouldn't have been, but I was, and I think it's a pretty.
Kinski.
What was it?
With Klaus Kinski?
Oh boy! No, he was. If his daughter wasn't in the chat room, he wasn't interested. So.
Or his mom.
Yeah, or his mom.
Oh, man. This is a weird chat room. It's just me and my mom and my daughter.
He said, Mom, have you seen Saturday Night Live skits? No? Okay, cool. I got you a gift for Mother's Day. It's my dick in a box. Okay. I'm sorry. This movie feels like, the type of movie that it would have been maybe 5 to 7 years later, and maybe from a different director, where they get people like Tony Todd and Danielle Harris and like people who are like horror movie based, but like don't really get any movies that are released in theaters anymore. They've kind of passed on to that, and it's like one of those B movies that they should have been part of that would have been a really good movie if they were part of it. But instead we get this.
Huey Lewis.
Yeah, I mean the whole premise, and for anyone listening, if you want to like distill the plot down, it's sort of Rear Window.
Yeah,
sort of
loosely
in that there's this she's confined to a wheelchair, even though I don't know why she could get around easier on a scooter or crutches.
Why does she even have to be injured? Like,
I guess. Oh, she can't leave.
It adds nothing to the.
It serves no purpose to the plot.
But to witness a murder instead of like through a window, through a screen, and.
Right. She needed
Which
to
is
be
very interesting. I do think that
she needed to be injured to do that.
Yeah.
That was the other thing about the internet. You had to be injured to get on the internet. Kids in 2001. It's a different time.
Yeah. There's a reason my fingers hurt.
Yeah.
So I do think that is an interesting thread. There is the rear, even though it's ridiculous to try to put that motif around it because it's so poorly executed. I do think Rear Window as a modern internet, it's an interesting twist. It's for someone more capable of doing it.
Yes, I think it could work as a premise,
and I think it has
think
worked.
About the Rear
Unfriended, like something like Unfriended is kind of like the successor to this, and like the version of it that sort of.
I actually think Unfriended is really good.
I like Unfriended a lot.
So think about the elements of the real Rear Window, which is he's looking at a lot of different things. So they could have established that really easy where she was like, not just let me quickly nose in and see if he's cheating, where she could have got on the internet and saw different stuff happening and then happened upon whatever ends up being the plot. Like there are ways to make it feel more like Rear Window that he didn't explore at all. It was just went straight to like whatever that was, where kind of makes for an interesting part if you think about early internet where you're like, oh man, I'm able to see and talk to people in other places and maybe I happen upon something I shouldn't have seen, which is the whole point of the real Rear Window, where he sees what he thinks is a murder happening.
Yeah, so it could be more like a chat roulette type of thing, where you're like,
which would have fit into this movie quite well.
Yeah, I mean, you would have happened upon where they're just sitting there butt ass naked with a keyboard.
Yes, that would have been like, what was that? Yeah,
that was weird. I hope he
And
doesn't
the
kill
other-
somebody later.
Yeah.
The
Let
other
me show
thing
you
I
my
was
cyber
noticing
cobra.
in the credits was like, it's like Nico's production company, and then the guy that's responsible for like all of the computer effects in it. It just made me believe probably that it was some guy that Nico would like probably get. Man, you're really good on computers. You want to make a movie? And he was like, huh? And he's like, yeah, you know how to do all this stuff. Let's make a movie. You just make all these cool graphics and stuff. I mean, it just felt so much like that, where it was just like, it's a showcase for his, like, the teenage next door neighbor who's good on computers. He's like, man, I'll start a production company. We're going to make this computer movie. Because Nico had to have been up in years then. He probably wasn't some internet savvy, it had to be the young guy.
85 now, so he would have been in his 60s probably. Right?
Yeah, been right at 60. Yeah.
So it just when I watched the credits, I was like, so who's the guy that is doing all the computer stuff? Has to be like the guy actually behind all of this. Like, I've got this idea, I'll pitch it to you, and then
that's an interesting point.
Like, it's like, oh, I like Rear Window. Can we make it part that?
Because I forgot to mention that, because this was like, it was almost 10 years between his last movie and this one, so he had been kind of out of it before this, so that's probably
but somebody came with him to an idea
with a great idea
he just could not turn down.
Couldn't turn it down.
Yeah.
He's like,
get Huey on the phone.
Yes.
Okay, speaking
He's
of,
definitely friends with those musicians, right?
Speaking of
right?
Huey Lewis, can we talk about how, like, so Misty is Nicollette Sheridan's character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's German girl's name? The main character,
Nastassja Kinski.
Shonda.
I don't know what her character's name is.
Sandra.
Okay.
So they're like, oh wow, and their reactions to witnessing a murder are hilarious because they're like, oh my god, just. But they call the police.
But do you think they think it's real at first? I feel like at first they don't think it's real.
I feel like at first they don't think. But like when she calls the police, and the police are like, well, we can't help you, but here's the number of an FBI agent.
Yeah, it is so funny. I just witnessed a murder. Where? I don't know.
He might as well have picked up the phone and been like, FBI, how can I help you? It's like...
It is pretty laughable how quick.
You witnessed a murder. Well, I'll be right down there. Yeah. Thanks so much for calling.
Agent Lewis isn't on the phone, right? Isn't available right now. Please leave a message, and we'll get back to you at your earliest convenience.
He's like, oh, you know what? I'm actually specializing only in murders on the internet. It's such a common thing at this time.
Huey Lewis too. He plays it like no one else is going to believe this. But there's something about this. They may have actually witnessed a murder.
I'm just now realizing the absurdity of all of that.
Yeah, exactly. and he's working late at the FBI office, where he's just like,
pulled another all-nighter, got one whopping call.
Yeah, it's probably 9 p.m. at the earliest out there.
Yeah,
because they're in Los Angeles, I think. That's it's. Huey Lewis is me, though, increasingly in this movie. He has some pretty funny lines about just computers, and so he this is the best line in this movie is, sometimes I think fuck computers.
That whole segment, it's just like, you know what, Huey, I'm gonna let you ad-lib here. And he just drops 10 F-bombs for no reason. It's like,
because it's Huey Lewis, and you would never expect him to drop an F-bomb.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
You know what? Fuck all this. Fuck the internet. Fuck computers. Fuck murders.
Computers haven't made my job any.
It's like that half-baked fuck you,
Yeah.
you cool, fuck you.
I had it in my mind. I was like, okay, I feel like Huey Lewis and what's her name? Nicollette. What's her name?
Misty.
Shonda? Sonda?
No, the other one. Mitzi.
Oh, the agent? Melinda Clark?
No. The co-star, Sheridan, Nicollette Sheridan. I thought, Misty. I was like, did they date? Were they like an item way back in the day, and I got on Google because I was like, why do I think that is the case? But I couldn't find any references to them being together at all. But yeah, but I had it in my mind. I was like, man, were they like when he was during the sports era, when he was at the height of his career, and he was kind of like, hey, he's a guy that could make the tabloids. Was he with her? He was with someone who was a minor star of some sort.
Okay, I'm glad you threw star in there, because if you just left it at a minor, bro, I was done. Yeah, I couldn't keep doing this.
No.
Oh man.
We can't have Huey Lewis being a sex pest.
No, we can't do it.
Yeah, we get one per episode.
Or unless it involves multiple members of your family.
Yeah, incels and incest. That's the title of this episode.
Yes.
Oh God. Yeah, that is going to be the title that Josh puts on the
pretty good
episode. Incels and incest.
The other Huey Lewis factoid, which is kind of well known but probably not widely spoken about, is supposedly Huey Lewis is hung like a horse.
All right. Okay. just drop a dead fish in our lap, Larry.
I'm just saying.
How do we
more than a dead fish?
Where do we go from here?
That's a claim to fame.
It's a
I mean, besides being Huey Lewis.
Not just say
Oh God, I'm crying a little bit.
I knew he was cheating.
I knew it.
I mean, he's just giving out his God's gift and blessing to everybody. Oh shit! Oh, Grouper, I'm dead.
Josh, make sure you find. Hang on. Oh my God.
Oh, they call him the big tuna for a reason. Oh shit. Okay. All right. I do want to pivot.
And that really does go back to the early days of the internet, when those would be the factoids that would get dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was literally
he's the John
like a
Hamm of
groupie-
music.
There was like a groupie web page where they just rated,
Oh,
like
boy.
the groupies got on there and just rated all the dudes on there, which is a very famous Web 1.0 website sort of thing.
Simpler times, better times, really.
Yeah. Well, congrats to Big Huey Newton. Or Huey Lewis, I'm sorry.
Oh God.
Not to be confused with Huey Long. Totally different guy.
Ironically, he had a schmeckle. Okay. Josh, you mentioned that there's.
How about the PC Brainiacs?
I wanted to. Okay, before we get to the Brainiacs and the Switch, which is fun.
I actually think was a good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fairly well done.
Josh, you said that there's an homage, like a sequence that pays tribute to The Exorcist, or at least rips it off. Where is that? Because
I'm being real loose with using homage.
These are J-Mo
They were
rules.
both movies.
Okay.
They were
both.
I was like, I didn't see anybody like crab walking or peeing on the floor.
Well, no, I was thinking. So when he shows up, when Werther shows up to the house, it kind of has that sort of styling, like he's like lit.
Oh, like the silhouette.
Yeah, the silhouette.
outside.
Okay.
And it's kind of part of that. It ties into the Brainiacs thing because they think, oh, he's come to save us, like the Exorcist
I got you.
did. But oh noes, we were stupid and actually told the real good guys to go away.
Yeah.
Which is played really well. I actually do think they kind of handle that, in terms of any kind of twist or anything attempting to be creative in this movie. That one is actually pretty well executed.
Remind me why they called them. I mean,
they were trying to get
Werther takes over her computer, so he's
they're trying to
remotely
recover
controlling
files. I think
They're trying to. Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember exactly why they called him. Not that it matters at all, but
No, weren't they trying to? Yeah, weren't they trying to recover like the killer
The
file?
tape,
Yeah, the,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
murder
to give
video
to
file.
To
Huey
give to the
Lewis.
FBI. Yeah, Big Huey.
And the
who
Geek Squad
who
showed
has
up
gone to
from
the
Best
wrong
Buy.
house.
Yeah, he's on his way to the other side of California at this point where this is happening.
This is an FBI agent who doesn't even know where he's going.
Also, can we talk about the blonde who's there to get murdered in this video? And I laugh, Josh, because your quote in here from her friend is like, "You're drop dead gorgeous, and you use the internet to land a guy."
Yeah, how about that?
Wow.
Well, I feel like that's a real thing back then.
Yeah.
Like people.
Oh,
would accept-
definitely.
say,
That's
yeah. Go out to the bar, you know.
It is.
The internet's for ugly people.
Yeah, the internet's
Yeah.
for losers, like incel Werther. And you know what? I think honestly, we should be using this as an instructional guide. Really, like
As a cautionary tale.
I can't wait till my daughter's like 15 and like on Facebook and everything, and I'm gonna show her this movie and be like, "This is what can happen to you. Stay off the internet."
Are you gonna do so? Before I went to Europe, my mom was like, "Have you seen Taken? You really need to watch Taken." And I was like, "Why? Is Liam Neeson gonna come save me if we get taken while we're in Europe?"
Your
He has a
dad
particular
has
set
a
of
very-
skills.
My
Yeah.
dad has a very particular set of skills.
She could have made
Oh
you
my
watch
God.
Hostel. That would have done
Yeah.
it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like,
Hostel's
I'm not leaving the
fantastic.
house.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
God.
you ever decide you want to go to the Amazon house, and I suggest you watch Green Inferno. Get you prepped.
Or Anaconda.
I was gonna say Anaconda.
Green Inferno is actually way more terrifying. All right, where are we at now? What do we? What?
I don't honestly care if we talk any more about this movie. Really, it's kind of.
Well,
I mean, we kind of covered the
So
kind
the
of general.
computer repair guy got there much faster than the police.
much faster.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like,
he was there.
Yeah,
And then
He was there so quick that it surprised them, and they didn't think it was the real guy.
he was clearly
Well,
a killer.
My thought is why doesn't the FBI, if they've got this division for these web crimes,
internet murders.
how
Know
do
how
we
to
not
use
have somebody who's like
IP.
internet forensics that works for the FBI that can go there instead of calling this company to do it? We've got a whopping one-man task force that doesn't even know how to get down the street. Like, oh man.
But Werther tricks them into thinking he's the tech guy, but then Nicollette Sheridan runs outside and he chooses to kill her by slitting her wrists.
Yeah.
And tying her to the car, and he was like, "It only takes 20 minutes," and he literally like sets a timer for 20 minutes.
Yes.
As you do.
Just
In the
showing how ruthless he can be, I guess.
And what's again, I can't remember, but when she's, because she's in a wheelchair and she can't get around, but she's trying to lock the door and the door won't lock, but the computer keeps saying something like, do you all remember what it said? Because he's about to try to get in the door, and it's like,
Oh,
saying,
Hal's
like,
trying to send an
Yeah,
electric.
Electrocute,
The whole
yeah.
defense
Yes.
system wants to be activated, but she's got to do something. She's got to issue.
She has to
a
approve
warning.
it to cause physical harm, and it's got to show that
She
she's
has to
then-
like give
danger.
a warning to the
She
intruder.
gets to make a choice on how to kill him, right? Doesn't the computer often offer up like options as to which thing?
that's
it's
what I
going to
thought.
use?
And then
Yeah,
she's
it
like,
all-
cool,
she- yeah.
let's do this. And it's like, sorry, I can't do that. And I'm like, Hal, like, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah, well, I think her warning is like, "You better stop or else," and that's her warning. Like-
and he's just smiling with his eyeliner.
The weirdest shit.
And
Go on now.
then he gets knocked back in the pool and floats to the bottom
Yes.
and seems to have been there for a while,
And
but
definitely doesn't drown.
definitely did not drown.
Misty.
Oh yeah, they're just listing intruder elimination options. That was it. Like showing the list of. Let me see how to get rid of the intruder.
I'm also going to say it's really I think we're all struggling with this because there is so little information about this movie on the internet.
Oh no,
by
yeah,
the way,
you're learning about this movie. It's because you've watched it. You've read the booklet that came with the
the
Blu-ray.
Wikipedia page and the IMDb everything else comes from. I even was like, I was scouring Reddit, almost nothing. I'm like, wow.
This is where we leave our mark. This is where we're going to kill in the SEO. We're going to be
Yeah.
finally
Yes,
leaders.
this is it. Finally,
I don't want to lead.
Roger
into this.
Daltrey all of a sudden is going to be like, "Man, my shit is blowing up. What is going on?" And he's going to be like, "People have
.com
finally
for
started talking
murder."
about .com for murder."
Listen,
What the
I
hell?
I once saw a movie that had Kevin Nash in it, called Slaw, which was a horror spinoff about two brothers who murder all the food critics because they own a restaurant, and they murder them with saw-like devices. And Kevin Nash was in it. And when I mentioned that movie to him, it blew his fucking mind that I saw it, and he was like, "Why the hell did you watch that?"
You're the guy.
Did you ask him why the hell did you make it?
I asked him how much fun it was to make, and he was just like, "Really? Like, that's what you want to talk to me about?" And I was like, "I figured everybody else asked you wrestling questions. I love wrestling, but yeah, I wanted to show that hey, let's talk about something different." He was mind blown, and he was just, I mean, it was a fun conversation. But yeah, so that's what this is. It's essentially that for Daughtry and Huey Lewis.
Huey Lewis.
Can you imagine going backstage? You get backstage with the Who, and you get to
Oh
meet.
man,
Roger
I loved you in
Daltrey.
.com for murder. Get the fuck out.
.com for
Get
murder,
out.
man. What was that like, man?
He would be like, "This guy's a stalker. Get him out of here."
Yeah, he literally was like security.
Yeah.
Hey, Huey.
It's like, you were kind of weird in that movie because Allison thought that
Why were
she
you
was
so
like
creepy?
special needs and you were her dad. um,
Until you started kissing, and then I was like,
and then it got really weird. And I'm like, oh, this is that Nico guy. This could be happening.
Was that an intentional choice or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the
usually
director's
creepy, or is that
choice?
just how you come on to everybody?
Yeah.
Uh,
Have you gotten any better at the internet?
And your password 1 2
what
3,
is it? What
4.
is the line he says? It's something hilarious, like,
Women-
"I'm no good at this internet stuff," or something, something
Wi-
very dumb.
Something women don't care about electronics.
Yeah.
I think that was it. Women don't care about electronics.
Oh, yes.
Oh God.
All right. Are we ready to move on to the bonus feature?
Yeah. So yeah, killer dies, gets electrocuted by a lightning bolt, much like our first recording. The
Pretty much
Well
so.
done, Josh.
Yeah.
I'm
Tied
sure
it
that's
all
an
together.
homage to something. I don't know what, but I'm sure it's ripped out of something.
What's the Silence of the Lamb homage? He's not wearing the dude's face,
Oh,
and I
there's
don't
a-
I don't
there's
see
a-
him say "I'd fuck me" on
I-
it.
He's
You talking about
walking
the
around with the
goggles?
goggles.
Oh,
like,
the
and,
goggles.
like,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and I think just kind of the whole conceit of, I think like that, like Rear Window and Silence of the Lambs are largely the two things that this is sort of a hybrid of. If you're being real generous with the application of those excellent movies to this one.
I mean, I definitely could see. I definitely could see where they're doing the old dick tuck and saying "I'd fuck me." So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like
Would you fuck
you know,
me? I'd fuck me.
yeah, he's he's incelled up pretty good, well before that was a common part of our lexicon. So, yeah. Okay, bonus feature time. Let's have more fun talking about shitty movies, everybody.
Okay.
Shitty movies that are fun.
We're going to cover,
Yeah.
the history, a very brief and sort of, quick, dummies for exploitation movies for dummies sort of history. Big part of having Larry on the show is he's a expert in this realm. So he's gonna really carry this one for us as far as the conversation, I'm sure. But just a brief thing, chime in if you'd like at any point, anybody. Exploitation films are kind of the unruly, unwashed siblings of the mainstream cinema. Most, historically, Hollywood was kind of, chase prestige and sort of moral storytelling, wanting to show stuff that sort of made people either feel good about themselves or go out there and do good things, kind of to motivate positive force in the world. Exploitation filmmakers kind of are more sensational typically, and sort of dabble in things that are a little more uncouth. They often have low budgets, high concepts. We can debate what high concept means probably, but I would say high concept is pretty accurate most of the time. And dealing with taboo, a lot of times they're trying to turn a quick profit. Like so for example, Jaws. Let's say Jaws is out there. The minute something like Jaws comes out, explodes, is a massive hit, somebody out there is like, okay, I'm gonna do Jaws. Listen to this. It's a fucking grizzly bear. And it's like that's the sort of thing we're talking about. Like,
now let's give him cocaine.
It's amped up more and more. The first, I think, Jaws was a good one because the first Jaws ripoff I remember was Piranha.
Yeah.
Where they were like, okay, we can't do a mechanical shark, but I can get a bunch of what look like bluegill, and we can kind of make them look mean and nasty. And then they made Piranha, and then Grizzly.
Don't forget about Piranha 3D.
Yeah, that was, I mean, not really recent, but fairly recent. Piranha 3D.
Wasn't there a Piranha Double D or something too? Yeah.
Hell yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. Now we're cooking. This is what exploitation's all about.
Grizzly was made by William Girdler, who is from Louisville, actually, who was an exploitation filmmaker of like high regard for a moment until he tragically was killed in a helicopter accident. But Grizzly's kind of considered one of the best of like the really cheap, low budget kind of Jaws rip-off things, where it's just like, it's at that point after Jaws, I think we had frogs, we had piranha, we had a bear, we had Night of the Lepus, which was giant bunny rabbits. And that's real. It was played as a horror movie where there's some sort of, a lot of times they, it had to do with an environmentalist like plot line where it's like, let's see what we're doing with all these chemicals in the water and stuff, and grew these giant rabbits, and they shot it really
like
weird
host.
where they had like toys, trucks were rabbits, and the rabbits are always shown in slow motion, but it scared the shit out of me as a kid. It was on TV quite a bit, and I was just like, there was like a great shot of like where they put fake blood on a bunny's face where it had eaten something bloody. But yeah, Jaws was a big one for everyone to rip off. The Exorcist was another pretty big one for everyone to rip off. Girdler also made an Exorcist ripoff called Abby, which was a mixture of a possession movie and black exploitation, and it was shot in Louisville, and it lingered in obscurity for a long time because he got sued as a ripoff of Exorcist, even though it doesn't really have anything to do with The Exorcist outside of the fact that Abby is possessed. But yeah, Girdler, there were guys just sitting around waiting for like a movie to get made and make a lot of money, and then see how quickly they could get one in the can and hit the drive-ins with it, which is kind of like, I don't think a lot of these guys thought of themselves as auteurs or great filmmakers. They were more like
Assembly
carnies.
line.
Yeah, like, can we get something out and cash in right now on whatever the hot thing is, with like a drive-in version. Well, it would hit all the southern drive-ins, and then it would hit the New York City Times Square movie theaters where it was like garbage in, garbage out. But there's some cool, there's some every now and then, whether they meant to or not, they would end up making a good movie. Toby Hooper, of the Texas Chainsaw director, he did Eaten Alive, which was a gator one, alligator Jaws ripoff.
Well, I'm glad you brought him up because for the listener, just a quick little. There's a lot of history in the notes. I encourage you to go read that if you're interested in this. I won't bore you reading all that. But Larry kind of brought up the garbage in, garbage out. Grindhouse is probably a word if you're listening to this show you're probably familiar with. That's kind of the spirit of this, the garbage, or garbage in, garbage out. Because they were playing. It used to be these theaters would play wall to wall, like they would want a lot of different variety just to have people come and just keep spending $1 over and over to hang out. This was back in the day where kids, you could trust your children to go just hang out at a movie theater for all day long. I remember talking to, when I was writing my book, the Power Rangers book, to Margaret Lesh. She's the woman who helped create Power Rangers, and she was so much of the charm of the Japanese show that inspired it is it reminded her of going to these theaters back in the day in Mississippi and watching like the old Universal horror monster movies and Abbott Costello and a lot of this stuff growing up in these kind of situations where you're just a kid and you got left at the theater all day and don't break anything. And so that's the spirit of this time period in the 60s and into the 80s where people were going. Is that generation's kind of coming up? People in Larry's generation are kind of in the same time, and it's this great intersection of a lot of different tastes, and this time where mainstream Hollywood is also having a really resurgence because it's also we're coming off out of like the Hays Code is kind of finally just really just in the background. It's gone. It's been sort of massaged out of the culture, and it's this cool time where mainstream is kind of doing some really inventive stuff and interesting stuff, but all in that in turn, even like the kind of the sewer over here is also catching some of that creativity and doing some cool stuff, even if it is accidentally. I think something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of these kind of movies, kind of an exploitation movie. It was, and Halloween as well, and we think of them in a different way because they're so iconic and so part of like baked into the culture. But a lot of that stuff kind of emerged from this, I won't say a movement because it wasn't really but I guess movement's a fine enough phrase to use. Like a lot of the slashers, the blaxploitation stuff, sexploitation. These are all words basically like, oh, we're going to do this cool thing, but it's going to have a black guy in it. And we're going to do this different thing that sort of reminds you of this thing, but it's going to have a lot of naked women in it. It's like that's like these, and there's a ton of sub variants. Like your Cheech and Chongs, like that kind of stuff, like stoner movies. Like they're all kind of in that same realm. There's a lot of stuff that comes out of this sort of period of time, and I think it's fun. I think it's fun to think about just what that would have been like. I know, I mean, Larry, you're really kind of the only one that can speak to like being there in it.
Well, the best way I can explain it, this kind of time period is like if you imagine, like we'll be hitting upon it here any moment now when the county fairs roll around, and there's like there'll be a county fair in Woodford County, and then it'll move over to like the county next door, Anderson County, and it might be the same carnival company, and they'll just go from town to town to town every week. And that's basically what a lot of these movies were doing. They were kind of touring the South through drive-ins. There was obviously no internet. There was hardly any like written reviews going on for movies that weren't Hollywood blockbusters or big movies that were making some sort of cultural noise. So these films would go play your drive-in, and they would show the trailers the week before, coming next weekend, blah, blah, blah. And it would look like this crazy, awesome horror movie or whatever. And the whole town would turn up and see it, and it would suck. And then it would pack up and move to the town right down the road. And no one knew at the town down the road that it sucked, and it would just go from town to town to town. And along the way, projectionists would be like, the church might hear, man, I heard there's all kinds of nudity in this thing, and we're going to show up and protest or whatever. That would make more people come out, but it would also make the drive-in owner get a little like scared that he was going to get in trouble. So he'd have the projectionist, well, let's cut out a few frames, and let's not show all the nudity. And then the projectionist might forget to put those clips back in the film before he shipped it down the line, and then everyone's showing up like, I heard there's a bunch of nudity, and then you show up and there's no nudity because the guy in the other town cut it out. And all that stuff went on for eons, especially in the tape trading days. There'd be particular movies where you'd be like, I know there was a scene in this that I saw that's not in this anymore. And when DVDs and Blu-rays and people really started paying attention to remastering movies for the secondary market, and people started chasing down the elements to all these old exploitation and sexploitation films, there would always be some guy somewhere that's like, I know at the 7-minute mark there was this, woman's butt, and it's not in this cut, so we have to find that element. And and they would just, it's kind of a fascinating, like, weird, carny, money making thing where these guys just, they pump out product. It was more just like, it's like the internet now and content makers. We just need more content. Mm-hmm. And it was like, we've got this market in the South and it has to change weekly, and it's got to travel. And so they were just pumping out all this stuff, and whatever the hook was, whether it was nudity or very graphic murders or violence, it had to have like some sort of hook that they could get you to come out for. And that really, up until the 80s, you mentioned Halloween, which was late 70s, when Halloween hit, and then there was just this, oh my God, how do we cash in? Well, that was almost kind of a resurgence of like what had gone on in the late 60s, early 70s, where all of a sudden it was like a response to Halloween, where every one of these guys who thought we could make money with this teenage market.
A porn director saw Halloween and said, you know what? Let's make Friday the 13th. Dead serious. Yeah. That's not a joke.
Yeah. John Cunningham. Yeah. Yeah, he was deep into all the sexploitation stuff, and because they had made some crazy movies for drive, and they were masters of marketing. I say even better than the modern era, because it's all kind of formula how they market stuff now. But back then, and man, they were marketing geniuses about how to present a trailer and how to, we're including vomit bags or whatever the crazy thing was that was the hook that was going to get you to show up. Those guys really went like the extra mile on the marketing if the movie was shit. It was just like, I got to go to this, man. They're giving
away Jurassic Park cell phones.
Jurassic Park cell phones. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, Dad? Hi. Yeah, I'm on my way, but actually my car won't start. I got this new Jurassic Park disposable phone, so do you want to just come get me and then we'll have my car towed?
And it's like, it's a fascinating kind of time period where all that stuff was going on, and it was all word of mouth. You can imagine, you saw something that just blew your mind, but you didn't know. Yeah, it wasn't an internet. It was all just word of mouth amongst your friends, and maybe that leaked over to the town next door. But the guys running the drive-ins, they would bring movies back because people would be like, you got to get that movie back, and with drive-ins too, you could show 2 and 3 movies on the weekends. Sometimes they would do these full-on fests where it'd be like 5 movies or something. It was like, I went to plenty, they were called Dusk Till Dawn, where, you would stay all night long. That's how I saw Texas Chainsaw so many times, because every time anyone did one of those, they would usually put Texas Chainsaw for like the last movie or whatever. It was like, well, we don't have anything else, just put Texas Chainsaw on. And so I saw Night of the Living Dead and Texas Chainsaw on so many like 5 and 6 movie bills where they would just go, yeah, we can get that. It doesn't cost us much of anything. So it's weird how worshipped Texas Chainsaw is now, because there was a time in Lexington where almost during the summer on any given weekend, if you wanted to see the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you could probably find someplace showing it. And now I always think, man, I'd love to see it again at the drive-in just for the fun of, And now we're going to get a new one from a 26-year-old director.
Yay.
I'm excited to see what A24 does with it.
Yeah, we'll say it's at least in good hands. In terms of like, if you're gonna do something, it's at least a creative group that might do something interesting with it. It's not optimistic, but
I know it's just weird. It's weird to keep going back. I mean, not that I don't think the original's great. I think the second one's great too. And honestly, I've watched every iteration of them and I'm entertained by all of them. But at the same time, it's like you keep going back to the well of that.
Nothing compares to McConaughey and Zellweger in Texas Chainsaw Massacre: Next Generation.
Next Generation.
Yeah, you got the Illuminati and nipple rings and everything else. It's crazy.
I did want to talk a little bit about just some other people who are kind of affiliated with this sort of place. I think I'd hate to not bring up Roger Corman, who is, probably the king of this.
Absolutely.
And I would argue,
highly recommend his book, by the way. Roger Corman's book is absolutely amazing. It's like,
is there incest in it?
No, there's not. Maybe.
But I'm not reading it.
Yeah, if it's not, you're not reading it. If it's not, I'm not reading it. But Corman started the careers of everyone from like Nicholson to William Shatner.
Well, yeah, it's like I put in the notes. Like, I think he's got a really good case of being like maybe the most important person who's ever worked in this fucking industry. Like, and so
I can't remember the book. I got it over there on the shelf somewhere, but it's like how I made something like how I made 10,000 movies or whatever in Hollywood and never lost a penny.
Yeah.
It's kind of that. And he was the king of just, ripping off ideas or just resurfacing the same sort of idea, which is kind of like .com for Murder in the sense that he probably made 25 movies that the theme is technology is bad. It's going to kill us all. And it's just, whether that's flying saucers or out of control monsters from experimenting on them or whatever. But he was the king of that shit, and he was good at it.
We have just another old head that I want to bring up, Herschel Gordon Lewis. I'm sure
that's my favorite. That's my personal favorite. Blood Feast and 2000 Maniacs, probably his two best known, and rightfully so, because they're probably his two best movies. And he's a guy that was like unapologetic about being just an exploitation filmmaker. He owned a junk mail service. He was early on in the junk mail business and made his living throughout his whole life doing that, and then teamed up with a exploitation producer. Lewis was a director, and they would just make these really crappy movies down in Florida. And usually the hook was they would pay like a Playboy playmate or something for like one scene, and it would just have nothing to do with the plot. Like in 2000 Maniacs, I think it's 2000 Maniacs, it was a Playboy playmate, Connie Mason, and she just goes down to a pond and is just washing her legs in this dirty old pond for really no reason while there's a musical interlude. And she's partially naked and she's just kind of soaping up her legs in the pond. And no one's watching her. It's not a plot point or whatever. And then it's like, okay, back to the movie. And so they would just, and Lewis, he didn't treat any of the shit precious at all. It was, but he's also considered the godfather of gore. Like, they were the guys who were like, we're going to push the envelope of gore further than anyone's ever done it. And so their trailers and stuff were always just covered bright red blood and technicolor. So the trailers would make you think, oh man, I got to see this. This is amazing. And of course, every actor is just terrible. They're just these, it would just be people that probably worked for his bad junk mail company or whatever. Just go play a cop, and yeah, they're works of art in badness.
This is blowing my mind because I saw that name and I'm like, why is that name familiar? I own one of his books. So he had a whole career writing books for like copywriting and advertising, and
Yes.
I own On the Art of Writing Copy because my professor in college recommended it. And now knowing this backstory and knowing that professor, I was like, yeah, this makes it. It's good. It's good. He has books on email marketing, direct mail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You learn from a true expert.
I had no idea that he was like, a B movie director. I just thought he was like a dude that worked in advertising.
And he, eventually he got enough love that he kind of like, he started doing the horror convention stuff later in life and stuff, and showing up and kind of meeting with the fans. But forever, he was just kind of like crabby about talking about his movies. It was kind of like, I don't want to talk about that. It was like, but the weird thing is, like, he was making those movies while he was still doing all of his marketing stuff too. It was just like his way to make extra cash or whatever. He was like, I don't care about, I'm not an artist. I'm just making these crazy movies. And Blood Feast is so good, and it's just got the dumbest plot point. An Egyptian feast, like a woman's having a big dinner party and she goes to hire a caterer for her Egyptian feast, and then of course the Egyptian feast is like a human sacrifice or whatever.
Sure.
It's just so good. So and everyone acts as if the first time they're literally doing their lines the moment that they saw the script for the first time. It's just like, okay, I'm going to read this. Yeah, it's fascinating. But and his producer Dave Friedman is kind of the thread through all of the early exploitation well into the 70s, and he was like a vaudeville. He was literally like one of, when I say Carney, he was like one of those guys. He was like a vaudeville, pay a dime to get in to see a show and maybe we'll show you a nipple sort of thing. He was just like one of those guys. And so if you look up David Friedman, his list of credits is just the gamut of exploitation, a lot of sexploitation stuff, not porn as much as just nudie, cutie sort of stuff. But yeah, those guys, man, what a time to be alive.
Certainly a different world. I don't know. I increasingly wish I could have experienced it, and who knows? Maybe AI will take us back.
Time. It was a very naive time.
I just did one before we get on to the close. I did want to mention Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez have both kind of been vocal about how all this stuff influenced them. So I wanted to give them a shout out in this setting. And I don't know if Slate, as Damien Leone talked about, I know you're a big Terrifier guy. Has he talked at all about this kind of stuff that you've listened to or heard or seen?
He has to, I'm sure.
Because that feels in this same kind of vein. Like even, it doesn't really get talked about it in that way, I don't think, but it probably is in this lane.
It's one of those things where I've only listened to like one or two pretty short and brief interviews with Damien Leone. I know his movies, especially like the Terrifier movies, get compared to being, very much exploitation film type and all of that. But I also do a lot to avoid like Damien Leone's interviews. And the reason why is because It has nothing to do with
Marilee's
him.
gonna get you.
No.
Is he a sex pest too?
No. I don't think so. I don't know.
To be determined.
To
probably.
be determined.
No, I think what I love about these movies is I like to hear the actresses and the actors that are involved in the movies talk about those movies themselves. But I don't want to get into the lore and the mind of Damien Leone and what he's doing with his films until it's over. I want to watch Terrifier 4, which is supposed to be the last Terrifier movie. Enjoy it for what it is, see where the plot goes, and then 2-3 years later when he's talking about how the creative process for those movies was sucky and this was hard to create and couldn't figure out how to make this character work and all that stuff, then I'll want to dive back and visit down that road. Right now, I just want to enjoy the movies for what they are. And for me, the first one's no plot. The second one's very little plot. The third one starts to get a plot. But it's more about how practical they are with the effects and the kills and the creativity behind that is what I love about the movies. And the humor behind Art the Clown as a character is what I enjoy about those movies. Is I don't take them too seriously. Like, I went to work. Well, one of the guys I went to the movie Terrifier 3 with, I work with, and he was like, dude, I got more joy out of watching you watch the movie than the actual movie. Because he was like, you're the only person I've ever been in a movie theater with who stood up and clapped when a clown hacked 2 children to pieces. And I was like, yes, I did. I said, like, all the other movies will just show blood coming down from the drawer and be like, oh my God, the kids are dead. No, man, fucking brutalize those kids. That's what we're here for. Let's do it. Like, it's in good fun. So I enjoyed that. Like, that's what I like about these movies is they don't pull punches. Art the Clown takes a package of dynamite into a mall and blows up a bunch of kids. And to me, it's funny because it's not... It sounds awful, okay?
This could be cut up into so many parts that would just reflect so poorly on you.
It sounds like exploitation to me is what I'm hearing.
I'm just enjoying the creativity, the fun, like because the gore behind it all is like, wow, how did they do that? That was really cool. That was mind blowing and shocking, and like I can't like as it's happening, I'm like, there's no way he's actually gonna blow these kids up, right? Like, no way. They're not gonna show it. And then they showed it, and I was like, oh my God. So, but yeah, sorry, that was a long-winded answer. But yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know what Damien Leone says about exploitation films. I would assume they have to have some inspiration to him, and I'm sure he. But I like to enjoy the movies for what they are, and then later for these, I'll learn how the sausage is made.
Cool. Yeah, I think anyone that's listening, if you'd like to dive into this world, there's plenty. Other than like being there for when it was all kind of happening, you go down to the drive-in. I think we arguably are in the best time to dive into this stuff. That's true for a lot of things, but there's a lot of boutique home media Blu-ray distributors that specialize in pretty much schlock and exploitation stuff. I mean, Severin, Arrow Video, Vinegar Syndrome, Mondo Macabre. There's a ton of smaller labels that specialize in just foreign language things in this area. You could eat for years and years on this stuff if you'd like to dive in and learn more about it and watch some of it. And partly why I drafted this movie is I occasionally pick up things that are on sale from Arrow and Severin and places like that, and they had a .com for murder was one of the things I picked up for like $5 or $10 or something, and so it's you can expose yourself to some really shitty movies, but also you can, I think there's some fun to be had for sure.
Sometimes it's more fun to just experience them. It's like not watch them for necessarily knowing that you're going to get a lot out of them other than I can't believe this was made sort of
kind of
thing.
like the Human Centipede.
Yeah.
I think that's that's kind of in the exploitation.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it only exists for the shock of like that. Like you want to see that.
Right. Which is kind of like exploitation's kind of morphed into like a nicer term where it's just kind of like genre movies or whatever, where you kind of look at like the different labels that we put on exploitation movies, whether it was like you said, sexploitation or blaxploitation or whatever. But the same sort of thing with like genre movies or extreme movies, which there seems to be an element when you talk about Terrifier or whatever, seems to be an element of horror fans who, you know, just want it to be whatever the most amped up violence or shock value. It's not much different than what was going on in the 50s or 60s. It just, there wasn't that many vehicles out there. So you had to kind of go below the mainstream into the gutter to find it, kind of similar to, you know, to some extent what you do now. It's stuff's a little easier to find. Mm-hmm. Now I was thinking about Corman. He has a cameo in Silence of the Lambs.
Oh yeah, he's an actor. He's in like that. He's in Godfather 2. He's like I think Apollo 13 is another.
And that's all because those guys loved him. Like Demme, who directed
Jonathan Demme, got his start with Corman.
Yeah,
sexploitation prison, women's prison. Yeah, women in prison it's like a subgenre of sexploitation.
And that was a big. I mean, I can remember my drive-in days. Those were you knew they were going to be hot and steamy. I mean, there's always going to be shower scenes, right, in the women's prison. There was always going to be, you know, light bondage and whips and that sort of stuff going on. So that was a big. And then they kind of amped up to women in prison in the jungle. And so it was like, oh, not only are they in prison, it's hot and steamy, and you just can't wear many clothes.
Women in prison on the moon.
Yes, you got to get.
It's probably out there. Let's Google it.
If not, let's make it.
Let's make it.
But I mean, it all joking aside, that's kind of I think where it went, right? It's like, man, we've almost completely exhausted women in prison. Wonder if the prison was in. Let's just start writing down ideas. The jungle, Antarctica,
the desert.
No, too many clothes.
Hell.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll close quickly. I think it'll be quick. How we close every episode. Does .com for murder matter?
No. I mean, no.
The fact that we've talked an hour and a half tonight.
Twice.
I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour the first time. And 95% of that was not about the movie, but about everything else around the movie.
I mean, we found out some interesting things about Huey Lewis.
And yet somehow Slate is probably the most thoughtful conversation anyone's ever had about this movie.
Yeah, very exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, the answer is fucking no. No.
No cautionary tales about the internet. No reason to watch it. Okay.
I didn't say that. I said the movie doesn't matter. You can find cautionary tales and things about the internet not pertain to this movie. This movie's just terrible.
Yeah, Larry, we struggle with this question because it kind of gets approached differently depending on the episode. Honestly, it's sort of, we all kind of are loose with how we approach it sometimes, and I think
how do you dictate whether it matters or not?
It's honestly,
I think the three of us have different definitions.
Yeah, and at least I change my definition depending on the episode.
I kind of feel like I do too sometimes.
It's honestly a poor way to construct this final segment, if I'm being honest. But we're fucking 25 episodes in now; it ain't changing. So.
This movie didn't spark any acting careers. You know,
it killed you.
This was the last movie in this guy's catalog.
It ended Huey Lewis's singing career.
I mean, we did establish why it's important.
It established Huey Lewis's hog or tuna or grouper or whatever.
His hog, and this literally destroyed his vocal cords. Those F-bombs.
I'm just glad that Julie Cooper was able to land on her feet. Melinda Clark made it to the OC after this movie.
Do you think anyone involved?
Yeah, Nicollette Sheridan went on and won, like Josh said, a Golden Globe for Desperate Housewives, so she made it out okay.
Only because the producers did not know she was in this movie.
Did anyone put this on their resume? Did anyone go, you know what? .com for murder. I'm putting this.
Jeffrey Dean.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean.
Jeffrey Dean. As he's
they
like, I'm at Red Lobster applying for a job. I want to be wait staff. check this out. No, he took that. He's like, hey, man, are you guys hiring at Geek Squad at Best Buy?
What's your experience?
I once
I
did
played
this internet.
I played an internet brain buster guy in a movie where I killed a girl once.
I wore a webcam on my head. You think I could be part of the Geek Squad?
I had laser fingers. I was the first Twitch streamer ever.
I had GoPro before there were GoPros.
He's applying to be an English teacher. He's like, look,
Yes.
I am totally up on.
I know girth left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forward, backwards.
My middle name is Girth.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's Huey. I'm
Huey.
sorry.
That's
Huey. Maybe
Oh.
that's how Huey ended up in it. He was like, I really am sold on this whole girth thing. And he's like, well, Huey Lewis, we got to get him.
He thought it was a completely different movie that he
Yeah.
signed on for.
Why, man?
All right, Larry.
I'll tell you
I
later.
need you to zig when the rest of us are zagging here.
Yeah.
You're the guy who specializes in these kind of movies. You love this genre or subgenre, if
Right.
you will. Tell me why this movie matters.
This was a tough one. I don't know if I'll go in the camp that it matters, other than it was made by a director who at least made more than one movie in the genre.
He made quite a few.
exploitation.
Like we skipped through.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
made
he
like
made
20.
more than
Josh
one.
has like the best of or whatever.
Yeah, he's got his greatest hits.
His greatest
We,
hits.
we know he sold a box set, at least one of them.
Sold at least one box set.
Twice. It was pre-owned.
Most obscure box set ever.
It was pre-owned. Oh God.
But you think Nico
He's-
made the box
He
set
sold it himself on eBay
Uh,
to Josh.
They made the films and the transfers for the releases on that Blu-ray are all directly from Nico, and he helped make the special features for it.
Yeah, Nico pulled a Joe Exotic after he shipped it off, and he's like, "I will never financially recover from this."
Hold on, I have to. It's sitting here right beside of me. I go. This is what we're talking
Look at
about.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Look at that.
He
beauty.
sent Jeffrey Dean to Michael's, and he's like, "Man, get some scrapbooking stuff, Jeff."
That actually
We're
looks
gonna
a
make
lot
box
nicer than I
set.
expected it to look.
Get some cardboard and some.
It looks like he
paper.
ripped off Minecraft, though.
You want to see something cool? So there's like a 60-page booklet.
Oh wow.
It's no. So check this out though. So there's only 3 cases. So there's 2 movies in each case. So there's Terminal Exposure.
Right.
Check that out.
Oh, that's good art.
But so there are 2 movies on a disc, and then the other movie is like the reverse
Inside.
art of the case. So you get both cases, but you only get to display one at a time. So
Oh wow.
that's what they skimped on the box set, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, that's where all the money went in those boxes.
They gave you.
Oh yeah, no, it's a beautiful. This is, and so I'm not gonna sit here and argue that this movie matters either, but I will say I think it's cool, and really the biggest reason I wanted to talk about this movie, other than I do think the internet stuff is interesting. I do think it is a pretty honestly good representation of weird early internet interaction, and
Right.
then a very early glimpse into like incels, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I like stuff like this. Like it sort of encourages, like, distributors like Arrow is who this is from, but other ones like them. I just think it's cool that there's like just this kind of subculture that that Larry's been a part of forever. That that trading tapes and stuff that sort of lives on still in this in a more sort of mainstream way, and it's kind of like antithetical to what it was for a long time. But it's also how it brings a lot of spotlight to people who created things, and even if they were ridiculous and over the top and trashy and maybe in some ways controversial, if rightfully so, I just think it's cool that stuff is also easily accessible for people, more easily accessible if they want to explore it. I just think it's kind of cool. And so I don't know. I don't think .com for Murder matters necessarily in the way we talk about it, but it's a portal to things that matter, and, and a hobby that matters, I guess.
Yeah, to some nerds. We all kind of
The
work.
nerds are in the room. With
Yeah,
us.
exactly. Some form of like media. I always make this argument for bad movies. It doesn't take necessarily as much time and effort to make a bad movie as it does to make a good movie, but it still is remarkable that complete crap can get made. It does give us all hope that, like, people will give you money sometimes to make complete dreck, and someone will buy it and watch it and maybe find some redeeming quality. And even if they don't, that doesn't stop you from maybe getting money to make another one.
So then, Josh, why are we not getting paid?
Yeah, I know.
Where's our money?
Did the checks not show up? Hey, I offered to pay for this movie for you guys when we watched it. I did offer.
I mean, our
$2.
podcast. Our podcast is not the .com for murder of podcast. Okay, it's better than that, and that got some money.
Yeah,
they got money out of you.
We're closer to the Ninja Academy of podcasts, probably. I think
we got to start. Yeah, we got to start Allison's full exposure OnlyFans or whatever that movie was with the exposure in it, and start raising some money.
Okay, we survived.
Right.
We survived .com for murder. Show notes are everywhere they usually are in the description. Links to all the online hangouts. Leave reviews. Watch this movie. Don't, you do your thing.
Go ahead, watch it.
Yeah. It's 90 minutes. That's the best thing about it. It's in and out. Like, we're good,
Such efficient storytelling.
This is you can watch this twice in the time that it takes to watch Pearl Harbor, as you'll find out in a couple weeks.
I'd sit through Pearl Harbor 8 times before I watch this once.
Not me.
That's a tough one.
I will watch this one before I watch Pearl Harbor. And that's saying something.
So Larry, before we kind of get out here, just another chance to plug anything. I can't remember what you plugged before, 3 weeks ago when we were recording the first time. So feel free, tell people about where you can buy your new single. I know you had something coming out recently.
Check out the band. It's Tojo Yamamoto. We're most active of all places because we're so young and vibrant on the internet, on Instagram. You can keep up with whatever.
Very active on Instagram.
Yeah, more
Fun
so
follow.
than any. And so it's Tojo.Yamamoto on Instagram. We have records on Bandcamp, old school vinyl. We have a 10-inch record, a 12-inch record, and a couple 7-inches. And we just put out a 7-inch recently. That's an REM cover and kind of a ode to Andy Kaufman, which I'm sure you've heard the song before. So that, and then we're working on the first full-length album, hopefully dropping in fall of this year, and we'll actually do what we haven't done a lot of and play some shows.
I've been to one of the 5 that you...
There you go. And so, and I say that, and the reason we don't play shows, and this isn't necessarily a plug, but the guitarist in the band, Elwood Francis, just happens to be the bass player for ZZ Top. So he spends like 9 months out of the year on the road with ZZ Top. And Tojo is more his passion project, which we spend a lot of time kind of writing and recording and not a lot of time playing out. So we're hoping we'll finally get caught up when we get this record finished and be able to play a few shows. So actually looking forward to that. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll be sure to plug, make sure once that happens, when all that stuff comes out, when the shows start, if you want to get out to one, and if you're out there and want to help try to get Larry booked or let Tojo booked somewhere, for sure, hit us up. We can connect you. And I got friends in Virginia and Ohio, and a lot. Larry, you probably got people way more connected than I do, but you never know who's out there. We can definitely.
I don't know. I've burnt as many bridges as possible with this Huey
He
Lewis.
keeps bringing up .com for murder. So
this Huey Lewis thing's probably doing my career in.
Well, hey, and most importantly, Larry and Tojo Yamamoto are going to be doing the intro music for Not Another 2002 movie podcast.
That's right. That's right. We'll be doing the theme for this show. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, and then you don't have to buy anything to hear the band. We're streaming everywhere on all those things that you stream music on, so you can listen for free.
But do go buy stuff.
Yeah. Support our
We got a
like
couple
physical media
video.
in
There's a
this.
couple videos on YouTube too of us doing dumb stuff. So that's fine.
There's a fun one with paint. I'll just leave it at that.
Larry, I got a feeling that you and Joe Walsh would have been hell on wheels together.
Me and Joe Walsh.
Yeah, you and Joe Walsh. Y'all have Night on the Town would have been rough.
It would have been good.
Yeah, it would have been some fun stories.
One of our music videos stars a sexploitation filmmaker and actress who goes by the name of Casper Melted, and she currently has a movie out.
That's
Has a
amazing.
movie out, and actually it's fairly critically acclaimed. So check it out. Check the music video out, and then look up Casper's work.
Hell yeah. Well, Larry will be back with us at some point. We're going to talk about some documentaries for sure later in the year with one of his other passions. But next week, it's a milestone. We will be at the halfway point of our show, the mid-season finale, and we've saved a iconic millennial, oddly Gen Z touchstone for that episode. And I'm curious, my mission for Allison is go find us a UK student that wants to talk about this movie that can bring us explain why Gen Z cares about this movie so much.
I'll ask the youths in the office for their feedback.
Hey, fellow kids.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What is the movie, Allison?
Oh, sorry.
Well,
Look,
I'm the one hosting the episode.
Yeah, Slate's the one hosting it.
Fuck me. Yeah, you're right. What's the movie,
Yeah,
Slate?
Josh. Well,
my brain. I'm calmed out. Sorry, Slate. Go.
Yeah. So the movie, if you guys can't tell from Josh's terrible description of it, is Shrek. So we'll be talking about the Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, Pixar animated movie or DreamWorks, right?
Yeah,
DreamWorks, not Pixar. I'm sorry. The first movie to top Pixar, right?
Top Disney, yeah.
Disney, okay, yeah. First movie to top Disney in the Oscar races. Excited for that. We will be actually going to see the 25th anniversary on the big screen as a group next week.
I just bought the tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to have a theatrical experience with you guys and go back and slip into 2001 and just spend 2 hours with these characters that all these fairy tales are based off of, and spend some time with Lord Farquaad and come back and talk about it. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for going to see it live in the theater and hanging out, and I'm excited to revisit it. It's been a long time. I was probably in middle school maybe in high school the last time I saw it. So
I'm honestly curious and excited to see are we going to be the only 3 people in this movie? Is the movie theater?
No, so
is it
there
gonna
were
be
two.
packed?
There were 2 other tickets that had been purchased.
Okay.
Oh well, it is a
We
time.
got-
Yeah, the time we're going is kind of wonky.
Yeah,
so.
4. Yeah. I'm curious if we went to a later show, what the crowd would be like. Would it be people our age? Would it be people younger than us? How many parents would be bringing their kids? So.
Yeah, we're old. We have to go early.
It's so weird. Regal's only showing it in the afternoon.
When we get to 4 o'clock matinee tickets, they're about 20% cheaper.
That's how my brain thinks.
I just was thinking, hey, the quicker we get out of there, the faster we can get a good cold beer in our system.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe they'll have green beer. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Ogre beer.
They do have a bar at Regal.
Ogre brew.
Swamp water.
Swamp water.
Maybe they'll have a Shrek popcorn bucket.
Oh yeah.
All right, and you know what? In
That's
spirit,
weirdly sexual.
Hopefully, fingers
Hopefully.
crossed.
in spirit of the movie, I'm going to show up in muddy sandals, barefoot.
Please do.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, my cat just knocked something over, so I think that's a good.
Allison's cat, I think, attacked her mic again. I don't know what
It
happened.
was the other. It was the other one this time. She got all tangled in the wire.
Well, until next week, y'all clear your browser history, please. Please do it.
I didn't even think of a musical song to quote from this movie. So sorry, guys, I'll let you down.
That's a great apology. That's all I can say. Can we get somebody out here to get this thing by the wings pounding away on Eddie Gilbert while Tommy Gilbert, I can't help it, Tommy. I can't get the things undone. He locked them on here.
I told you that I'd beat your brains over.